So I am excited about how much I've been looking forward to doing this topic, but making thumbnails and titles, it's the most critical part of making YouTube success. It's the door that people have to go through to get into, and it doesn't matter what's inside your great building if you don't have a door. But realize a way that we can learn from ancient classical masters, people who are already brilliant at this and have written encyclopedias of instructions how to do it in order to really just jumpstart our ability on this topic and pick this up really quickly. So, Ryan, the example that I have, the thing that made this dawn on me that we could do this. So what is this?
Oh, World 1-1 on the NES.
Everybody knows this.
I can hear the music in my head.
This is another example. Everything is about having context, give you more information than actually is in your poetry, in your screen, and whatever. So this is pixel art. There's not a lot of actual dots there to convey it, but we know what's going on. When they were making things like this, it was a challenge, especially to like fine detail of what exactly you do to make it look like an eye at an angle. Should we do this, do that? But the thing is, people didn't have to reinvent this from scratch. It was a big challenge. It was really hard to overcome with art. But I give you 19th century Impressionist French art called pointillism. Everybody knows Monet and the water lilies, but when I was going through the exhibit, they have this thing where they got towards the end and they started trying things out, and they just made it out of a bunch of little dots. But then when you zoom out, it looks like the real thing. So if we can put these side by side at all, this is an example where if you start looking into what people have done before, you can get a hand-gifted manual on how to do this really well instead of trying to figure it out and reinvent the wheel on your own. So what I want to do today is learn more about thumbnails from existing art already. My theory is, I have no way to stop having every fucking thing show up on the screen. My theory is that we can look into the art of poetry and visual poetry to get more knowledge on this, because I think this is probably the thing blocking me from getting really anywhere with YouTube. And I want to leverage the skill of the people who are already out there that are really good. To give us a focus on this, I got here a concrete question. I want us to answer this question by the end of this. Why does this actual real life photo of people in a Texas snake pit feel less like Texas and less like a snake pit than this fake engineered version of it? And this is going to again come into the whole thing of poetry and art. Are these both showing? Is it actually working here?
I see both of them perfectly.
Okay.
And already I love this because we're focusing in on emotional truth versus reality again.
Uh-huh. And if we craft it, there is so much more you can get per pixel, per word, than if you just don't know what you're doing. I'm stumbling onto this by accident, but I realized that there's people who've been doing poetry and been doing visual poetry for decades or hundreds of years and doing it really well. And if we analyze them and learn from them, we can get really good at this too. And this is going to be valuable in everything. It's not just valuable for YouTube videos. It's valuable for the conversations you have. It's valuable for marketing. I think this is going to be one of those cornerstone life skills. So that's our place to start. Now, when we get into what I want to look at right now is we'll analyze a couple pieces, but I want to eventually get to looking at the thumbnail of my last video, figuring out what we could do better on it and what's good and what's wrong with it. There's a pack. You have the thumbnail and then you have the title, and those have to work as a team. But the thumbnail itself has a lot of visual parts that communicate so much with so little. And on one hand, you have to have it not be cluttered. So you have to have this thing where you're carefully choosing 3 images or 3 things in the frame, just like a poet picking just 3 careful words to convey a whole lot of meaning instead of just a cacophony of a whole lot of things all over the screen. The example that we're going to go with is, have you heard that story of, who was it? Hemingway, I think. They said, can you write us a short, sad story? And he said, for sale, baby shoes, never worn.
Yeah.
6 words. That's effectively what we're doing with words. And also on thumbnails, they will put words to clarify what's going on, but it's this extreme brevity of poetry where it would be 3 or 4 words, like Hemingway's story. And that is the skill that we need to start brushing up on.
Oh, I really like this. And I definitely misunderstood the instructions on what to grab, because I went more for what are instant hooks you could put in a video that tells you so much background information about a character or what you're going to be talking about. And I went those just outstanding hooks that gave you more context than you could ever convey in a conversation.
It's got to stretch that muscle still. The whole idea of learning how to say more with less it's the thing I've been missing. My whole problem has been being rambly and verbose. So that's going to be great for us too. I think we should also be thinking, what do we want to dive into next episode? So while we're going through this, keep an eye open for that. Should we be trying to dive deeper into the poetry of titles, into the verbal part of thumbnails, or should it be the visual introduction for the hooks? Because you actually have to have 3 of those working as a team together. And I'm really I'm behind on all 3 of those. So this is all going to be useful. Let's just jump into it. So what I want to start off with is start from the end. That's much more exciting. I'm going to share those 2 pictures again. And I want us to just analyze a little more casually what works, what you think's happening, and just suck your brain dry of all the insight that you seem to have every time we do this kind of thing. Go. So this is what we started with at the beginning. You have the real thing, and then you have the one they generated that got them tons of views. What do you think's working? What do you think is different? Like, tell me your thoughts.
So immediately, of course, the one on the right, the generated image, is much more, he's the one holding the stick, he's the one she's behind him, the dramatic looking up at them, the lighting, everything is much more the emotional truth of I'm the hero in this story, versus the one on the left, he's just kind of standing there, and yeah, there's a lot more snakes around him.
So many more snakes.
He's the one actually poking the stick and poking the snakes with it.
That was one of the things that stood out with me the most, that the left is less scary despite having a bagillion more snakes. Like, it makes no sense.
There's a ton more, and I think that's part of what makes it less scary is there's so many of them you can't distinguish and tell the size of them. You can't tell where the heads are really on them. The detail sort of fades away.
Yeah. Like they say in Marvel's movies, it just puts so many enemies into it that it stops having any meaning. Okay, so we got clarity, a lot more, like more wood behind fewer arrows.
There's also a lot more onlookers, and you can actually see them. You can see their body language, which in the real life instance, they're not really paying attention.
No.
They're also fewer, and it's a solid wall, so the snakes can't get out, but also you can't really see how their body language is.
Yeah, that's a real solid point where I don't want to have to become an actor. So yeah, the fact that you see the guy's expression and his expression is showing fear is more communicative. But the fact that you have onlookers who are so disinterested, that heavily communicates that this is not a danger zone that we don't need to worry about. It's like, whatever. That guy's he's got his back turned to it.
I mean, there's the one person on the left edge who looks like they're waving down a friend and just smiling even.
Okay. Anything else?
Again, it's, to me, the camera angle, the upwards hero shot versus this one's almost slanted down so you can view more of the snakes.
Yeah. So now we're getting to things. This feels more reusable. I'm looking for principles that we could spread across everything. And the whole show emotion and be an actor, I don't think that's very transferable. But that, having the camera angle aimed up naturally feels like the hero shot. It's a heroic person doing something. And also you get like closer to the items that are important. That's doing a lot there.
You get more, it feels like you yourself are closer to the snake.
So positioning where the viewer is a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Good point. Good point. One thing that I want to ask is, I love this part. So looking at the left and the right, which one is more Texas?
I mean, personally, since I've been down there so much, I think the one on the left, because they would be nonchalant about it, but the one on the right is what most people will think of as Texas.
Yep. And that's what you're doing. Visual art, verbal art, it's all communication. So this is why people like me suck at this kind of stuff, because we get so bogged down on truth. I want to show the true app, because we treat it like we're treating a scientific paper. The goal, the actual mission, is to communicate, and that's just what the people are going to feel or realize. If their conception is wrong, you have to say the wrong conception to get them to understand it.
It feels bad to say it this way, but you almost need to play into stereotypes. Mm-hmm. It's like all the like Breaking Bad, everything, where they had to, if they were filming a scene and wanted it to be known that was in Mexico, they'd put that kind of orange sepia filter on it.
Yep. And this is what we're getting into. There's bad ways to do it, and there's better ways to do it. So we want to master this craft, but there's these things that I've never really noticed until I asked this question a few weeks ago and reached out to you. But there's this huge library of vocabulary we have that's incredibly powerful. And I think once we start talking about this back and forth more, we will build that up in our lexicon really fast and make us vastly better artists and more powerful communicators. This is one part that I talked with them. So these people, they're fairly decent YouTubers. They're crews. I was talking with Emily, the woman. She's the one in charge of the thumbnails. A lot of great things to say back and forth. And one of the main things she talked about this image was the corral. On the left, it's just a white wooden wall, which is very effective, but it doesn't have any regional character. For them, for most people, it's really important for you show a location. You don't just show what is happening. Like, okay, you're in a room with snakes and you're taming snakes. Okay, that's great, but you need to have the thing you're doing. You want to have some sort of reaction from people, even if it's just yourself. And then the third thing is you want to have some sort of defined, clear location. And on the left, it's a little muddy of, are they in the factory? What's going on? And on the right,
it feels very controlled on the left. And on the right, it feels like they're at a rodeo.
Exactly. That's what they did. They actually looked up rodeo photos, put that in. And that's not as accurate, but it gives the feeling more of, oh, we're in an exotic location. We must be somewhere in Texas, and we're in some kind of rodeo thing. And that's more of the truth of what experience they were having. They were at a rodeo event, but the room that they were at just doesn't have any of the trappings or visual. We need a good word for that, but it's all like verbal, visual poetry of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna love this episode. I can tell already. It's those little minute details that are almost the world building for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited about this. There's so much upside to learn and get better at this. So now I want to shift on to our mission for the day. This is like my most recent video. I really like it a lot. I'm going to show you the previous version of the thumbnail that I had for it. Tell me what you think about it.
I mean, I love this big, bright words, "they taught us wrong," really is a striking message. And it looks like you're some kind of hacker who's questioning the system. Almost anti-authoritarian, I'd say. Very interesting thumbnail, but I'm not entirely sure what they taught us incorrectly, what this ties into.
So the beautiful thing is right there, you said so many things. Whether they're right or wrong, or the powerful one and the wrong powerful one, that's something I want us to refine together. But this is the fucking magic, that you said so many things. There was a lot of context in there, which is, I'm really happy to hear you, because that was the actual progress I managed to make here. Contrast this with, here is like a recent video before that. How many things can you say about this?
Oversaturated, something's missing, very, you look like you're going to try and sell me a house.
Yeah, and so there's a little bit of context there. You know, he looks like he's semi-professional, he looks like he's selling something, but you had so much more to say about this one. And that's the skill we're trying to build up. That like Tolkien did so much backstory in his writing that he could say 3 words and you would feel paragraphs of information from that. And that's what we're going to enhance, that we can do more. So I want to walk through how I got to this and get your thoughts on each of the stages. Maybe we can learn back and forth. And then I want to show you the version I changed it to recently.
Okay.
Now, the first thing I did, I can't believe how hard it is to remember this, but it's probably the most powerful skill in anything. Look at what other people are doing that worked it. Like, there's something baked in my personality. I think it comes from the STEM background, that I have to reinvent the wheel every freaking time. I'm supposed to understand things from first principle. If you don't know what 1 + 2 is, then how? No, let's skip to the end. So I downloaded a whole ton of thumbnails from YouTube, but about when I just searched for it. So I need to make this topic. This is going to be a video about how software engineers learn communication skills differently than other people. So,
okay,
it needs to be focused on software engineers, and it needs to be about communication, and it needs to be how there's a wrong way and a right way. Now, the first thing I like to look up software engineers. How can I just communicate that there's a software engineer without having to spend my valuable words saying software engineers? So I Googled a whole bunch. Let's take a look. Alice.
Put some code next to it.
Yeah, this one felt pretty good to me. Like, oh yeah, code. That definitely says he's an engineer.
More code.
He actually just...
Someone looking straight on in the middle, code off to the side. Yeah, I'm seeing a theme here.
So we can get to the art thing. Visually, I really like the left-right split, but we're only worried about today about learning this visual poetry. We can get to the word poetry a little bit at the end. This guy, the code's in a screen.
Still works. And it does not matter what is the code for. I don't think anyone's ever going to read it.
So did you notice that this is complete fake AI code?
Oh my God.
See, it's completely fine. It doesn't matter.
It's just gibberish.
And this is a question we got to get into. What things matter and what things don't? Because you're not trying to give a dissertation here. You're trying to give immediate impressions that trigger memories that people already have. That's power of communication. How about this one?
Yeah, I mean, feels more like a BuzzFeed article. I don't know that I would be as inclined to watch that video, but
Yeah.
still implies that he's in the tech field with all of these news clippings being informed to talk about it.
This felt like too much show, not tell, but at least it's unambiguous. And for whatever reason, if you just put things in boxes, like if you put it inside a phone or put it inside a news article or a tweet, that makes it a lot more interesting to people. Not sure why, don't care why. It just really feels like it when I look at it. This one's slanted, so this has been great because when I asked ChatGPT or Claude what would be visually cueing that someone is a software engineer, it was giving me, oh, you got to wear a hoodie and this and that crap never worked. So I just realized, look at what videos have succeeded. And a lot of it was show a whole lot of code, show logo. Yep. So that moved me on to my next step where I figured I'm going to build a workbox. Okay. So it came here. I said, okay, I am going to collect pieces of things that are my vocabulary that just scream as an engineer. So for engineers, there's all those related things, but let's say pieces. All right. But oh, don't be silly. Well, you can see enough from there. Or can I make this bigger?
All the different little logos.
Yeah. So these are AI companies. You don't need a single word, and you don't need to take up much space on the screen. You see it, you know it. Then we have, like you said, this definitely was. We got code. This stuff is real code. This
that fake AI code.
I know, like I'm an actual engineer. What are you doing here? Then I made some code and put it in a perspective, so it's closer and further away, trying to make it look more interesting. We'll discuss later if that was a good idea or not. But yeah, code. So Lego box of code. I don't have to spend any time photoshopping that or hunting it down. Anytime I just want to shove in a thumbnail to scream, this is about a software engineer. We got that. Here's some other logos for tools that engineers use. And this, I think, is why it's such a roadblock that I've had of trying to appeal to a market that I'm not embedded in. Like these icons right here, I don't think these mean anything to you. But to me, I know if I put these, instantly every engineer in the world recognizes this is about me.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar at all with any of these.
That is the skill, because when you can communicate with people, not just fast, but in the way that people not in the group wouldn't be able to do, people automatically think this is for me because someone like me is talking to me the way that I speak.
So this is your own Freemason logo that you just put in the corner so that way the rest of your community knows you're one of them.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's a really neat idea.
Every industry has this. So when you just talk about your audience, the word audience, they have a different word for it in every industry I've worked in. And if you use the wrong one, everyone just feels, what? Oh, I understand. You're one of those people. But if you use the word for audience that industry uses for audience, they'd be like, oh, bro, we can skip so many boring conversations and get to the good part. And they're way, way more interested in listening to you, what you say. And when you start trying to persuade them or pitch them on something, they're far more likely to agree with you because you've already convinced them with that one word that you understand their unique situation. It's not, well, maybe that works for your freaking, sales guys, but that's not going to work for my freaking engineer team. We're very different people. You use these 3 words that they're already thinking, oh, well, this has to work for engineers because you talk like an engineer. You already tested on engineers. I don't need to ask you about it. Huge power that we can learn by practicing on our thumbnails.
This is so interesting because I've been doing a real world equivalent of this for years without ever knowing that I could do this in like a video. And that's when I go to like a craft bar and know that they're people who care and put their time into things, I'll always start with ordering a shot of Fernet at one point, because that tells them, oh, he's also in the industry. This is a cool guy who I don't need to put on a mask and pretend like I'm someone who gives a damn. I can just talk real shit with him. I can be myself, and he's not going to judge because he has to do the same thing.
Yes.
That is... Oh, I'm ashamed I never figured this out.
I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I spent 3 years and probably $40,000 on courses and training, and no one has said this. So literally, I want us to dive into. That example that you're giving, keep that in our box. I don't want to try to do everything at once. I want to come back to that in another episode and have you teach me more detail on that sort of thing. But I think this is probably one of the most powerful forms of communication and persuasion there is. And I think we can learn a lot of it, several different forms. So now we got this guy. And trying to just thinking a little bit more maturely, I put this together, and I want you to tell me what you think about the difference between those two.
Personally, I like the one on the left more because it appeals to me more of you're like hacker, cool, not as straight on. The one on the right feels much more... Ow, Wesley, why are you rolling in chords? You are being such a pill today. Stop it. Stop it. Gonna knock everything over. Okay. Sorry. The one on the right just feels so... Wesley, do you need to go in your kennel? Knock it off. Come here. Hey, come here. I'm so sorry. Wesley. The one on the right just feels so much more structured to me, and I don't know. The little guy, to me, he just looks like something out of Galaga or something. It doesn't mean anything to me. I wouldn't be inclined to click on it, but I'm also not in your audience, so that's probably a good thing.
Yep, this is one of those vocabulary symbols. This is also like a big decision. Right looks more structured. Left, it feels more engaging, is what you're saying. In ways, like left is more artistic and right is more like logical. So the question, which one is right for my audience? I actually don't know. Is it the fact that the left is more interesting to look at that would be more successful? Or it would be the fact that the right looks so straight on, dead, boring, to the point that they'd feel, oh, yeah, this is my kind of thing. This is the thing that I need when I actually want to learn something. I don't want goofy, I don't want sugar, I want substance. It's hard for me to say which would actually be superior, but we're at least starting to get the levers that we can pull to go, in this case, if we need to be more artsy and beautiful, in this case, if we need to be more straight on, I actually know the difference and how to do that.
I'm starting to see why a lot of, let's call them influencers for a lack of a better term, have branded t-shirts with logos and companies that are in their fields. It's an easy way of incorporating that while still having it feel cool and fun.
Yeah. Anything you can do to get more information, especially information that triggers a context of other information with less real estate, with less words. It's why this stresses me out. I've realized, like, learning to write has been one of the stressful things I've ever done in my life. And I realize it's because you're trying to cram as many things as possible into the same amount of space. And it's freaking hard. This, I feel it'll be less stressful to do. So we can move on, but this is just what I've been working on. This guy right here, have you heard of Claude Code?
I've heard of Claude. I have not played around with it or clicked on it ever or anything.
Yeah. So Claude, it's another thing like ChatGPT. That's what you talk to, just like ChatGPT. There's a version of it that's Claude Code. This is what nerds use to write software with AI. This little thing, which doesn't take much mental cognitive load to look at, it's not like a whole bunch of little tiny things on the screen or words or text, instantly tells you that this is about making software with AI. Very rapid. It's like, I want a better word for it than ROI, but it's the amount of information you get per idea or per thought or per pixel or per word. This is really high. So let's move on. The whole idea that this has been putting me together is when you're putting together your title, thumbnail, and intro, you need to have a lot of information really, really fast. For me, you have to communicate who it's for. If it's for everybody, it's for no one. So I have to say software engineers. And then you have to have, what's the problem? You don't communicate well and it's hard to learn to communicate. Then there is solution. Oh, well, I'm going to teach you a way that is specifically for engineers because I'm an engineer. I know how to do that. Then you have things like, what's the context? What's the situation? Is it in Texas? Okay, locations that matter. But, this is 2026 when AI is killing our jobs. So it's going to be incredibly hard to keep a job. This is a lot of things. And usually you're lucky if you can get 2 things in a sentence before people tune out. So we have to find all these sneaky ways visually to cram in 4 things. And this is my baby's first try. This is literally my first attempt at doing this skill. And I'm starting to see it. So
Definitely get a lot of what you're talking about through this now that you've explained it. Again, you've got all right, I'm in this field of coding because I've got the code in the background. That's an immediate thing. I've got the little Claude code icon there. So again, we know what space we're in. The space of is this in Texas doesn't really need to apply to this one, I think.
Yeah. Software is not.
I assume the title would convey more of the message other than they taught us wrong. But I'm trying to think what else we would want to add to this thing.
I feel this hits all the bases. We could just learn to hit those bases better. But that's not something to solve today. I just want to get the concept. And I'm hoping, I'll just ask you directly, I'm hoping we can figure out what masters we could learn from. This is a visual poetry. I think we're clear now what visual poetry means. Who have been really great visual poets in the past? Whose art could I just start looking at and learn this by observation? Or whose textbooks could I learn from? This isn't a new thing. It's just being applied in a new space.
That is a great idea. I'm trying to think of who, as far as YouTube channels, I think of when I think of these ideas.
I think we can go further back. It could be freaking Da Vinci. It could be
true
1920s French movie posters. Okay, we'll move on to the next step.
It's a great idea.
But you have to think about this, and when you ever have this idea, chime in, let me know, or text me later, because this is the collection. I don't want to just, it's the whole thing. If I was making Super Mario and I had all these pixel art, what was Konami doing? What was Sega doing? Like, no, bro, you got freaking Monet and master that has been doing his entire life. I can learn from that guy and dunk on my competitors like crazy instead of trying to learn from other YouTubers.
That's such a fascinating way of approaching this.
So next, I want to go on another part of visual. There's obviously the text part, and I'm going to come to that at the end. But staying on visual, you have supplied some visual, higher context things for us to look at and discuss on the other end. Sure.
I have. Again, very different, but I love these clips that I'm going to share with you because how much they inform us about a character in such little amounts of time with very little context whatsoever. And before you go to that video, mind if I share a different one with you first?
Sure, send me what you got.
Because this is kind of what inspired me to go down this route.
Show me your baby shoes.
Now, this is one that I think you actually shared with me originally.
Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to get to the beginning. Okay, this the right one?
You're still on Jack Sparrow for me.
Oh, it's going. Let me try. How about now?
Still in Jack Sparrow for me.
Okay, I guess it's tab by tab. Let me see. Stop. Now, if I share the entire window, will it also share the sound? Clicking the button. Clicking the button. Okay, we see it. And
you shared this with me originally.
Let me see if we can get to the beginning.
I don't have to drink. I just enjoy a cocktail or two at the end of a long day. But I got rules now. I don't drink before 7. I don't drink on an empty stomach. Always hide the car keys. Give someone your phone so you don't make any embarrassing calls. No more than 2 ounces of alcohol in an hour. No more than 12 in a night. I get 2 beers per AA chip, 1 shot per chip, and a Boilermaker's 3 chips. And it's 7 o'clock. 2 beers, please. Oh, and can you get me an 8-ounce glass of water? I gotta stay hydrated. I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah. A lot of information in that.
I mean, when you sent me this, I think your question was, why can't I stop watching this? What is so fascinating about this? And my immediate response was, it's a ritual. Rituals as a whole are just fascinating to us because it's something so rehearsed. They've clearly done it 100 times, but we're witnessing it for this time. He knows exactly where to set down his lighter, his cigarettes. He informs us right away that he was an alcoholic, and he's got the chips to prove that he tried stopping, but yet here he is back again. And now he's got more refined rules that seemingly work for him.
Ooh, I didn't even notice the chips were Alcoholics Anonymous chips. That's so this right here, you're gonna say, well, Ethan, we're talking about poetry, and this guy talked a whole fuckload. There was a lot of words there, but the thing he communicated non-verbally was freaking huge. Chips were one part, but just the tone of his voice, like you were saying, the fact that it was so ritualistic. It was not the first time or even the 10th time he had said these phrases. Having that different tone of his voice, that's what made it so gripping for me, because it was, I'm just realizing this right now. Something will hold your attention if it's giving you a lot of information very rapidly.
Yes.
And his tone is what turned this from some flat dialogue that's just getting us from A to Z that we need to understand the character to, there is a lot of context here that I am processing as fast as I can. The reactions from the people in the bar of, I'm not freaked out, but this is not normal, to the gradual, like, okay, we got it. There's so much nonverbal stuff going on in this scene.
So now I want to share with you what this reminded me of when I saw it.
Okay, so another video right here. Okay.
I want to see if your mind connects the two as well, or if this is just me. And you can skip ahead to about 23 seconds in, I think, is when the scene changes.
We own start at the jazz you one day you know the how to new the father there. Just me dying a lot of the place to play the film exam just the spell enough to reach the farm and we are ready with artists saw the stuff the farm the funny list open covers the positive pair of ropes to rock the love of the bus like none of the town the lock you go to double of 1 to 3 up the head and from the town to rock you open all the ways the double of like fire to the down to come this all and down the play like this the going so where you start the plays and it's run they play that be such to drop some music take on and that's what I used to put down get up but don't get air the last is smile laugh and all the fire be curious through check they asked because they hired and no desire required to play with all I that like you know to double and 1 to 3 but I'll put the hand what's coming up now I'm up below all the way double up like all the way and double the next and six that's it so
Thanks, man. Come on.
You can probably stop it there. I think we all know where this scene is going.
Okay, I got some thoughts. But what do you want to say?
I want to hear your thoughts first and see how you would connect these two scenes.
Okay, I'm going to need some runway on this. First, this is difficult for the very reason why it's so powerful. I'm just so sucked into this. I'm not noticing all of the details. I'm not noticing all the context that's getting communicated to me. I'm just in the moment. That's why this is so powerful, that we can put it in a thumbnail and not have it take away from the bandwidth of how many things we can write or say or ask the viewer to listen to, because it's subconscious. It's just happening. It wasn't until halfway I was like, oh, okay, stop just enjoying the Irish music and all this stuff and look for details, because we're actually doing a podcast, and I noticed some details of the hats and the pipes and the clothing and everything made of wood instead of aluminum and steel. And it's a fact that I would not have noticed that, but I would have felt that and known that without thinking about it if I hadn't taken that stop. So connecting the two together.
Great.
There's this detached tone he has to what's going on. It's like I still don't fully understand this scene, even when I rewatched this movie, but he's not there angry for revenge. He's not there, I'm determined to win. It feels like the scenes with Batman where he's there for training.
So this might be something because of my background in martial arts. I'm not sure if this is that bleeding into my perception here. But one thing that I love about this scene is he's there for entertainment. I'm going to beat this guy for money. It's not anything else. If you watch every single strike he makes up until this point, it's all just open hand slapping the guy.
Oh,
Punishing him. And it's not until he gets knocked down, sees the white handkerchief, sees Irene Adler, and goes, I need to end this because I need to find her, where he knocks him out like that, breaks his rib, discombobulates him, all that. It's the disconnected, I'm here, I'm dancing, I'm clapping, I'm enjoying this, I'm just slapping the shit out of you. That's what sells this to me as this isn't me in a stressful situation. This is me just in my ritual, doing my thing. This is how I'm entertained right now.
Or maybe he's trying to entertain the crowd to make more money, or for whatever reasons. This is you just actually explained the best way possible why you have to kill your darlings. You notice that because you have martial arts experience. I didn't notice that because I don't have any barehanded martial arts experience. And when they wrote that scene, these people knew that people with less experience, they would miss it. And they still wrote that down specifically for people like you, embracing the fact that it would go over the head and be missed by the wrong people.
See, I think that's one of those things where you still feel it. Like, even you said, it's clear he's not trying to win right now.
Possibly, yeah. There's a certain amount that I picked up, not the full.
I think it's such a unique way of diving into his character. Of this is someone who's smart enough and knows how to win a fight very clearly and has the experience, but he doesn't mind getting hurt a little bit. In fact, he seems like he needs it to have some excitement. And he doesn't really care about winning at this point. He's doing it because he gets some excitement from being in harm's way.
Yep. I like this exercise, man. I mean, you take it a new direction, and I really like it. The whole idea of nonverbal communication, it's neglected. Anytime I speak to anyone about communication, the first thing they want to know is, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? And they refuse to listen to any advice I have until I first teach them what to say. But there's actually more power and information in nonverbal things. Man, there's so much more I want to dig into this. Give me another one.
All right. Let's go to, have you seen at all on Amazon, Guy Ritchie, the same director that I've talked about 100 times, and I love his work. He's the one behind the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. On Amazon, he recently came out with a Young Sherlock series,
where Moriarty is his Irish drunk buddy. Freaking love it.
Same songs in both of these. But you can click on this one, and if you go up to about 55 seconds in is where I want it to start.
I just want to say that of all the twists of Sherlock, having Moriarty be his Irish drinking buddy is my favorite twist.
Fight?
Yeah.
So good.
Like,
such a
so much fun.
Addition.
You and your art of war. James Moriarty. Sherlock Holmes. Long lines. And I'm not a great one for waiting.
Waiting for what?
We're going to acting podcast.
We're not quite dressed for this. You even invited.
I don't think you need to worry about that. You just follow my lead. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I see your invitations picked?
Sirs, madams, please stand tight to the wall to keep the path clear for the other students. This is marvelous. I won't be there. Wonderful dress, madam.
Excuse me.
Leave this with me. Sorry. You have a dramatic split in the back of your jacket. 1, 3, 4, 2 suspects. Very good.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Excuse me, sir.
You cannot take that. Oh, you're absolutely right, sir. But I can borrow it, and I shall return it to its cradle. Oh, on that. No. Look to this day, for it is life.
We stop that one.
I gotta first say, just now that we've started doing this, I'm overwhelmed by how much information is happening to try to process it all. Man, this is such a high ceiling on this art. So, tell me your thoughts.
Oh, I love this introduction to Moriarty's character here.
Man.
And I can tell you, I've watched this about 5-6 times. It wasn't until this latest time where I realized between him shaking Sherlock's hand and then the scene cut to them walking to the party, he changes outfits.
Huh.
He's wearing the whole graduation cap, everything, and changes outfits, goes, walks to this party, and Sherlock still tells him, we're not quite dressed for a party. They could have just snap cut to them dressed in a party, but they chose not to because it's more interesting having them sneak in this way.
Yeah. Like, have
the little just insights to his character. You find out he's willing to bend the rules to get inside. He's willing to pretend to be something he's not. He's willing to, oh, I'm not stealing. I'm just borrowing your bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
He's got the intuition to reach down, grab a couple glasses, and quick mix up some cocktails and hand it to the woman. Just so much about who he is as a character in so little time. And without him speaking a real word of what he is.
Shown through actions. This could be a struggle because I'm trying to take actions like these and condense them down to a single image or an icon on a business card or 2 words in a title. But this is definitely the right direction of, instead of, hi, I'm this and this is my backstory and blah, 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 just quickly, rapidly, few moments showing it happen.
I think this is more so how you set your hooks in the video to keep viewer retention.
Yes. The beginning. And this is something I want to
say. If you were Moriarty, how would you now make a thumbnail for this intro scene to him?
Well, you got me thinking about the intros now. But yeah, we should save that for a future episode because you can't write these separately. Title, thumbnail, and intro first line. Everybody's talking about how to make a good one, but like, there's no answer to that question. They have to be good for each other. You have to build all 3 together. But going back to your question of how would we make an image thumbnail for this guy, that would be harder. My gut is wanting to do a before and after, left, right side of the screen. But that feels like that would be weak. What do you think?
See, I love the idea of him reaching over the bar to grab the glasses and the bottle and just have the text, "You shouldn't be here."
I am starting to get this. So I'm going to take that one step further. You shouldn't be here. It's short. We can go further. We can get more emotion for fewer words. Because if you tell somebody something, they go, I understand. But if you imply it and let them figure it out for themselves, then they feel it. And the emotion is what we need to do to get people to click. So what I would do is maybe the bar scene, maybe the part where he's holding the invitation, or have something doctored together where it's holding both of those. And I'd have arrows pointing at the invitation that says, not his. And I point another to the drinks that says, not his. And another up for like, not his party. And it never says that he's sneaky or, not invited. But it's like, oh, fuck. He probably wasn't invited here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that might be overcrowding it, though. I feel like you're taking too many ideas at once there. That's why I like the idea of just maybe have a glass and it's saying borrowed, and then the text, who let you?
There you go. Pick one thing. When I write, I have a rule. In the first paragraph, never use the word and or. Everything should be one concept at a time only. So taking that concept visually, only one thing, the drink, borrowed. One thing. I think that'd be really good, man.
Try and get a snapshot of his face looking surprised when someone actually calls him out on it. Get that emotion.
I think I'm going to need to consult with you next time I make a thumbnail. It's a good idea. Well, let's see. I think with time ticking, let's move to the next step. Checking my notes, which everybody probably can still see. The next part I wanted to touch on a little bit is bridging into the future episode I want to get into. The words. If we can think of more ways to dive in deeper for the visual poetry and learn from our ancestors, I would love to do that. But to give the full map of what we're getting into, we'll show it again. The thumbnail that I put together it has words on it. Most thumbnails have words on it, but it has to be a very few, very sparse. This is where we get to the extreme poetry part of it.
I am not seeing the thumbnail right now if you're supposed to be showing that. Oh, there it goes.
Now, we'll save it for a future episode. We'll talk about there's a little information given to you in the thumbnail, and you actually want it to be insufficient so that they feel they have to read the title to get an answer. And then the title should explain more, but again, be so insufficient that they feel they need to click to hear the intro to get more. So there is this line where you want to have a huge amount of information in each word, but you also still want to be playing dodgy with it. Putting that all aside, just looking at this in isolation, these are the words I came up with just for this. They taught us wrong. I like this. I feel like this has a lot of information in 4 words. So without having the rest of the information given to you, what is your take on this?
I like it because it does push the blame onto some unknown third party. They don't matter. So it's not forcing whoever your viewer is to think that they need to accept the fault for not knowing how to communicate in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
But then also it's the wrongs read, all of that. It's very much appealing to the emotional side of things of, yeah, it's not your fault. You don't know how to do this. Come learn the right way.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I'm trying to imply. And man, even writing the script, I struggled with it so much. It would take me so many words to explain that concept. I go to a networking event and someone says, "So, what do you do?" And it takes me so many words to explain it that they get bored and they realize, wait, you're trying to tell me you're going to teach me to communicate when you can't even explain things yourself? Worked on this for probably 3 days. And if you don't say who it is, it usually means something spooky or ominous. Like I said, people prefer to be told that somebody else did something wrong instead of it was our fault for not fixing it. But the whole window of taught us, I could say, hey, you weren't taught correctly, or you don't know how to do this right. That's actually where I started. I was like, you don't know how to do this right. And like, that's so boring. There's no real hook there and there's no context to it. But if you have, they did something wrong, which implies you are deficient at that. Now we have a story. We have stakes. In the future, I want to give you some concepts in the future and help me build new ones of these, because honestly, I feel like this is the only part that's working right in my video. And I would love help to get this better. But today was mostly just to focus on the visual parts and then just reveal that this matters. This is going to be similar to the skill we need for the title and the intro, like you're talking about that. I want to go through all of these and master this with this poetry skill set that we could probably find people better than us. We can't charge for their works because they're public domain, and that would be great for us to do.
Wes, calm down. Sorry.
All right, so that's what I wanted to cover today. Yeah, we covered that indirectly too. So to wrap up, I want to just, what do you think would be the next place that we should take it? Next time we talk, which part, what angle should we focus on to deep dive?
I think the next thing we should try and focus on is we have, let's say, our thumbnail set that's a good fit for the video, concisely explains what we want to talk about. Let's assume we've got title already. Let's figure out how do we get it so that way just little cues in the background tie into the video. So that way, if it's not in your thumbnail, it's in the first 5 seconds and they know that this is another visual cue. It's another thing that's selling them on watching another 5 seconds past that.
So
Little hooks.
So visual cues during the video itself, the first 5 seconds.
Yep.
Okay, that opens the door to having video instead of static objects. So this will be great. We'll look into that. Talk to you then.